brother. So
All right, so
go ahead. You can
you were
just
talking
start.
about how I hit him with the hook once I got a foothold,
Yeah.
and I stopped being so nice. And I'm happy you caught that because I feared like one of my I just dropped the video yesterday. I don't know if you caught it yet,
Oh, I've watched. I
and it's
watched the
about
the. Yeah.
yeah, and it's about and like it's so at the end I'm kind of like very purposely like my thing now is I don't have as big a white audience as people like to imagine, partially because I be swinging, you know. But I also know, as I said in the video, that I'm very approachable. I make a lot of radical politics around black issues very approachable. Naturally, I'm not trying. I was a teacher. I worked with kids. I worked with a lot of white people. I'm in Atlanta, so I'm comfortable in my blackness on all these levels. And so like that has a weird confluence to make it like, well, I can talk to this, I can hear this black person talk about these things. And so once I caught on to that as I grew, I was like, oh, I can't let him get away with that. Right. I got this big check from the Bo Burnham video, and I looked at the comments, and it just made me really uncomfortable because I was catching the Van Jones CNN energy. I was getting that Ta-Nehisi Coates, and I fuck with Ta-Nehisi Coates, right? No disrespect, but it was just kind of like this would be if I really was to do this. This is too much money to not have a more explicit political agenda. I just personally would feel uncomfortable if I'm going to talk around certain political concepts, and not really like challenge. If I'm going to be renting out my blackness to a portion of white people, then it needs to be spiced. It needs to have the best I could offer and not be overly comforting because I never forget, of all people, Hank Green, who people tend to shit on. I don't know if you're familiar with Hank Green of the Vlog Brothers. So
Yeah.
people shit on them because they're moderates and liberals, etc. Which I understand that critique. But Hank Green said some of the realest shit to me in one of my videos. He was like, "Yo, white people don't want to fix racism; they really just want to not have to think about it." And like if they watch the right black person's video and it makes them feel a little absolved and it takes down the tension a little bit, they will give you a lot of money for that. And I was like, I don't really want to play that role. If I'm gonna talk about these politics, I'm gonna be a little more challenging than is normal. And then suddenly I'm doing videos called Fuck the Police. And I'm like, oh shit, what did I become? How did I get this far? Uh but it is, it is what it is. I'm very proud of that video.
It's so impressive to see the switch up because you in essence did exactly what I did, but in like almost reverse order. It's kind of fun
Mm.
because when I first got to America, because I was born in Egypt, that's why I
Okay.
like my name is actually Setos. Like it's just that's my actual name. It's not like some moniker
That's
or
dope.
title.
Okay. I didn't know that. I was like, yeah, this must be some anime shit I ain't heard.
No. Everybody was
There's a
assuming
character from
that.
Vinland Saga or something. I don't.
Everybody assumes that. Everybody's like, "Oh, Setos, you got that from Bleach." No, my first name is Setos de Grans. That's my first name. I just it's so long and goofy. I just don't like saying that, so I just shorten it to Seros.
Yeah,
And
my
and
name is Arabic too, so I understand your pain.
thank you, understand. Oh my God, thank you. Holy shit, you knew it was Arabic. Just the best part. Thank you. Oh shit. So I have this long ass name, and I got here when I was 8. And nobody could say it, so they were like, "Well, you have two options. You could keep Ceros de Grans, or you could become Caleb." And I'm like, let's test out Caleb. So my mother could not pronounce Caleb. She called me Caleb, and that confused everybody because she's Arabic. And I was like, okay, we're just gonna go back to Ceros. So and I from 8 to like literally like 16, Crip. Just Crip like immediately. I was like, oh,
In Detroit.
yeah, in Detroit, in Toledo and Detroit, like two places I frequented a lot were those two
See,
places.
I'm a Midwesterner, so I understand. I've been to Detroit. I
Okay.
don't I don't remember it very well because I was
Aw,
mostly in like a hotel room because my mother was like, "Yeah, we're not leaving this hotel
smart mother, smart mother. Is I would have sold you some coke. I would have. That was my livelihood, and a large part of the time I just didn't trust white people. So it was kind of a shocker for everybody when I pulled up to the family function with a white girl. They were like, Because I had primarily only dated black women or like maybe
Right.
Mexican women, and everybody was like, "Oh, you switched it up on us. Why'd you do that?" And I was like, "Well, hear me out. She's funny."
I'm sure that had a lot of. I could imagine that being a lot of pressure to like suddenly bring a white woman. My brother suddenly did that too. Now him, I think, is probably a lot more problematic because he hasn't dated a black woman since.
He's swimming in the milk. He's swimming in the milk.
Technically he's only been dating Latino women, so I'll give him some modicum of like cope of deniability. But like literally, he dated all black. He brought one because my family, I think I've alluded to, you know, we cultural black nationalists, hotep adjacent. Like I didn't know what a hotep was, but I knew what a hotep was,
Mhm.
right? So like, you know, it was pretty overtly discussed in my family. Like, yeah, we don't bring no white women home. And then it just became don't bring no women home because like the people, everybody was crazy. But that's a whole other conversation. And my brother, I'll never forget, my brother brought a Colombian girl home from college one time, and it was such a kerfuffle in the entire family that he never brought another Latina woman around again. And so then you fast forward 25 years later, and it's nothing but Latina women. And I would give him a pass if he didn't also talk. See, he does the thing. And I hope this is clear. Like when I talk about any angst I have around interracial relationships, I personally don't care. I think love is awesome in all forms, in most forms of fashion, right? But what I don't like is when you use your newfound affinity for a different ethnicity to then be like, you know, it's because black women are this. And it's like, you don't have to add that part.
Yeah.
Just be dope with your Latina white woman. Like, enjoy. You got to tear down.
It's a wild semblance of self-hate. It is such a disgusting level of self-hate in a black person to be like when Childish Gambino came out with that Asian girl, everybody was like, "Oh, I thought he was different," and I was like,
No, you didn't.
Childish Gambino likes Naruto. This nigga was going for an Asian girl if he had the opportunity. There's no shot. Like it's such a weird thing when you see a black man in power get with a non-colored woman. You're just like, oh man, he's putting down black women, and for the most part, they are. That's all they do. That's all they want to do. They're just like, yeah, I got this nice, you know, I got me a white girl. I'm like, okay, chill out. It's not that serious.
This is weird, dude. It's just you know, congratulations.
I guess I don't know.
Let's talk about football or something. I think about RG3 because he's weird about it. You know, it's like, dude, you don't have to talk about it. Just like we don't even know who your wife is. Just talk about football and stuff. It's cool. This shit with among other things with Jonathan Majors. That's the other weird thing is that you flip flop and now every black woman is Coretta Scott King. It's weird. It's, you know, racism is weird. Racism makes everything. I think I said that in the video. Racism makes everything weird. I'm trying to hold more space for people if they're not overtly toxic. If you're overtly toxic, then obviously we confront that. But if you're just being goofy or weird, you may get a couple of jokes. And if there's room to discuss, then we can do that. But in between, it's like, nah. Sorry, I'm fidgeting.
No, you're
I'm
fine.
trying to stay awake.
No, you're okay. I understand. I completely grasp it. A large part of the issues here, what I've discovered is that people I get death threats. Like I thought I would get hate messages. I get death threats. Like people from like black people that are just like, I can't believe you with your natural hair and is out here just dating a white girl. I'm just like, she is the only reason my hair is healthy. Like she spent such a disgusting amount of time learning black hair. She actively doesn't learn white hair because she loves the actual like cultural. She has cultural appreciation so deeply, it's wacky. Like she learned how to moonwalk before I did. That's crazy to me. I was like, there's no fucking shot you can moonwalk. Like white skinny girl just learn how to do moonwalks in the middle of the club. I'm just like, fuck, I can't even do it. I'm embarrassing my culture at that point. I'm saying, I'm like, fuck. It's such a disconnect that I have with my own people now, and it's saddening at this point because all I want to do, most of my friends are black, most of them are, but also most of our friends, while they are black, they're niggas. There's a big difference. Like they are niggas. Like they will be like, all right, we gonna go up in this 7-Eleven. We taking everything. Okay, hold up a second. Now, friends, what if we don't do that? And they're just like, nah.
I'm very visible these days. I also have like Joker hair. A lineup may not go well for me.
It will.
So I'm curious because I've never been in a relationship. I just not a thing has ever been on my menu. And I'm also now going on over 10 years married. How long have I been with my wife? Going on 20 years? I don't know. I've been off the market for a long time, right? And so I haven't, and this is one thing. So obviously, you probably know I did a video on interracial relationships a little while ago, and I thought about making it into the type of joint where I talk to a lot of different people, but I had just kind of didn't want to put in as much like effort into all my videos the last couple of months. Ever since Fuck the Police, I was like, look, we got to stop making every video an epic investigative journalism video. But I don't know a lot about that experience. So it sounds like you get a lot of like hate and like general antagonism out and about. Do you think it's because you're in a
here Ghost.
Yeah, something. Is it because you're in an environment that's not just like, so you got your general black bourgeois, petite bourgeois environment, you got your working class, but it sounds like you surrounded by street niggas.
Yeah, I'm primarily surrounded by street niggas and a grandma that grew up in racist times, and my mother who dealt with the 9/11 Muslim hate. Like she stopped being Muslim completely because of that. And I'm like I've dealt with racism from the Arabic community, the white community. For some reason, the Chinese community fucking hates me. I don't know what that's about. No idea. I thought we were cool. I thought Wu-Tang Clan stumped all that. I don't know what happened there. Anyways, but it was a whole thing. Being in a racial relationship, it creates a pocket because people look at me and assume so much. I started painting my nails because Prince painted his nails. No homosexual tendencies added to it. I saw Prince paint his nails, then I was like, I fucking love Prince. And I started painting my nails. And everybody was like, oh, you must love men. I was like, well, that's a good assumption, but I just started painting my nails because, Prince.
Prince did it.
That's it.
They said that about Prince, though.
Yeah, and Prince was straight as hell.
Yeah. Prince was homophobic.
Yeah.
What I'm talking. Prince is low-key homophobic, which is hilarious.
Just an effeminate homophobic man. That's all he is.
Prince is an effeminate homophobic man. Not like, foaming at the mouth, just kind of old school uncle homophobia.
Yeah. He was like, oh, you swing that way, that's cool, but, keep that over there. Like
keep that over there, yeah. Type energy. That's interesting because so much of Black social media content creation is like oriented away from, urban street. It's like we adopt all that street aesthetic and like street imagery, but none of the creators and most of the population consuming it is actually in the streets like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's I hate that disconnect because I've spoken to other people. And it confused me because I'll be like, yeah, I used to rob niggas. And they'll be like, what? And I'll be like, yeah, I used to run licks. I got shot at a few times. I've been shot before. And they're like, really? Yeah, I was in the hospital and my girl stabbed me. Why'd your girl stab you? I have a twin brother. She thought I was cheating, so she stabbed me. And I was like, what? Yeah. Everybody, when they hear about things in my life, they're just like, this must be made up. This is fake. No, this is just niggas. I stole copper from houses. We're just niggas. Like, that's what we were. There's no like, why do we do it? We needed money. My parents got divorced. We needed money. There was no like, we didn't do it because we were evil. We did it because the environment we were put in because of what happened. We were angry at people, but we couldn't be angry at white people because if we were angry at white people, then we would go to jail for it. But if we were angry at other black people, then they know that niggas would die. And when niggas kill niggas, nobody cares. That's the beauty of it. It's so genius that I almost don't hate it. It's so smart. Because if you put niggas in an environment where all they can hate is each other, then they will hate each other. It's disgustingly
you get
brilliant.
Exactly what you want. Yeah, and that's what it frustrates me because I'm very open about the fact that my mom had her PhD by the time I graduated from high school, and so my mom was I guess, had the wisdom to not uh like fully buy into our bourgeois reality. So like I didn't grow up with a lot of things. I didn't grow up with like design or anything. And like it was always presented to me that every dollar spent in our house was like possibly the last dollar. And it wasn't until I got to college and she was like, "Yeah, just swipe this card for your tuition." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I didn't realize that was abnormal until I talked to my like friends at college. Like, your mother paid for your tuition with a credit card? I'm like, "Yeah." Yours didn't? Like, so I say all that to say, right? So that's relatively normative within the creator space. But then, as is sometimes typical for like people from petite bourgeois backgrounds, I spent most of my adult life up until YouTube engaged in social and community uplift. So I'm a teacher and I'm a social worker, and then I was a social science researcher around social issues. So like I have spent a lot of time in the hood working with kids who are dealing with real hood shit, not like TV hood or, mixtape hood, but like, no, I'm in this house. There's mom just had kid number 12, and I'm trying to keep kid number 2 out of jail. You know what I'm saying? So I brought him some Xbox games. It's that simple sometimes. Like, kid number 2 is breaking into cars to get money, right? So he has something to do and something to play with. So look, yeah, I'm gonna bring you this Call of Duty. You play this. If you can play this every third time you think about hitting the lick, that's one less. That's like 5 less licks per month, which means 5 less opportunities to interact with law enforcement. You know what I'm saying? So like I don't commend that too much because it's still very much poverty tourism. But sometimes when I engage with people, black folks, of my political ideology, and I hear it's like little moments, little things they say that's like, "Oh, you haven't actually directly engaged with this population, have you? You haven't actually directly engaged with these politics." And so it is something, and then there's also like there's a struggle because and I struggle with this because I try to keep my persona and like my environment as open to everybody as possible. And sometimes when you come from an environment that you describe, the things that are normal for you to say and like the energy you give off, other folks, it makes them uncomfortable because they don't know how that energy feels. And so I need folks to kind of be like, "Hey, y'all gonna have to learn to get along. You can't be over here making videos about this population and then can't deal with this population in real life." You
No,
know what I'm
you're
saying?
right. I need what I need deeply, and I need this so deeply. I need we to have all 67% of white America, the entirety of it. I need them to all come together and rent out one big ass place and just watch all the Boondocks. I need them to do that with my whole soul because I feel like if everybody watched the Boondocks, they would have such a better understanding of just not black culture, just niggas.
But
Like,
it's like a baseline.
yeah, like that's the entry
lift.
level.
Yeah.
Cause the amount of white people that have not watched the Boondocks that I know is asinine. I'm like, holy hell, you have not seen this? And like, who's the booty warrior? I'm sorry, you don't know Fleece Johnson? No, like you don't know about the teacher that really didn't know the difference between nigga and nigger. You didn't know that,
Nigger.
like he didn't know the difference. Like
I nigga borrow a French fry.
yeah, that's I thought when I first watched the Boondocks, I was like, oh, I've seen this, and I was like, what? Yeah, I've seen this before. I've seen this. This
Actual
person's
video.
Yeah, I've seen the actual video. It's insane. It's psychotic. I was like, oh my goodness, this whole thing it baffles me. It genuinely baffles me. And you brought up a very good point earlier when you said buy them Call of Duty to do one less lick, because that's why niggas love 2K so much, because 2K, Call of Duty, NFL Street, all those games, those aren't like anime games or things of that nature. Those are games rooted in reality. They play 2K, they can actually become a basketball star. They play NFL Street or something like that, they can actually, become a football star. Call of Duty, they might actually join the army. Those things are
No son.
Yeah, that's smart.
One of
That's
the nerdiest kids I taught joined the army off the strength of Halo and Call of Duty. I was like, "You sure?" It worked out okay for him, but it was just like, to me, it was like, "Ooh, this is a jump."
That's a steep hill. I was like, that's a slippery slope.
You went from Naruto and One Piece to like carrying the piece for the
for the Americas, like, all right.
Right.
It baffles me too, and I've been curious about your opinion on this. How do you feel personally about black people and Christianity? What is your whole take on that?
So there was a time in my life where I was a very typical kind of edgy atheist type of guy.
Mm.
I grew up Muslim. As you indicated, you might have had some
Yeah, we up.
experience with. And but I grew up Chicago Muslim, which is different because Warf D. Muhammad is there, and then Farrakhan is there, and so there's like there people don't like the. I'm get somebody can be mad at me for saying this, but like on the low, that was Bloods and Crips Muslim
You know
energy
you're right. Yeah.
because they people don't know this. They think like Farrakhan is just like this heralded person among all black Muslims. Like no, Warf D. Muhammad, like normative traditional Muslim black Muslims did not like Farrakhan. Still don't. My father hated Farrakhan. So I say all that to say, uh, that means I also grew up with an outsider image of black Christianity. And it was fine in Chicago because Muslims had so much cachet in Chicago, like everybody knew somebody black that was Muslim. Then I came to Georgia for school, and suddenly it was like girls I was trying to holler at that had never even heard met a Muslim in real life. And I was like, yeah, y'all are really kind of fucked up with this shit, ain't y'all? This is mad judgmental. Like you smoke weed. Shut the fuck up. like, are you judging me or something? And then ironically, I left. I kind of as you talked about with your mom, 9/11 kind of took me out of Islam as well. Not on some like people were being really racist around Muslims, but because I saw kind of like I just kind of felt disconnected with the rhetoric that was happening among the Muslims I was in community with in college at the time. It was just very fire and brimstone, very judgmental, very Western chauvinistic, and it just didn't feel, it didn't feel right. And then I kind of went on to agnosticism, and in that time frame developed a very edgy, well, that doesn't make sense. Why doesn't Jesus stop me from, stop people from shooting each other? Like a lot of, baseline I'm 20 and this is really deep type shit.
Jaden Smith, gotcha.
Jaden Smith, yes,
Yeah, very
yes.
Jaden Smith of you.
And then I met my wife, who grew up Southern Baptist, and she was not just a stereotypical black Christian, but she had a very deep connection to her faith, and still does, even though we don't practice a lot. And that forced me to like actually engage with Christianity as a philosophy. And then I started doing like, political sociological research, and you recognize one, that Christianity that most people in America practice is kind of cooked. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of cooked.
Yeah.
It's not way of putting it. But you realize there are liberation theology traditions that are much more at least aligned with me politically and like ideologically. And so like I love that. And then also, I don't know how old you are. I'm 41.
I'm
I'll be
27.
42 this year. Yeah. So, and once you get closer to 30, especially as life, gets harder for everyone around the world, you become, at least I, and most people around me become less invested with agitating things that just make people happy. And so if, my aunts or, some folks that I'm connected to go to church every weekend because it centers them and it helps them deal with their work-life balance and it helps them deal with the challenges of raising kids and all those things, as long as it's not making you do fuck shit on the side, then I love that for you. I love anything that helps people, live a more fulfilled life. There are a lot of problems with the black church that I do plan on making some content around in the future. Shout out to my boy John Lewis, who's recovering Jehovah's Witness, who's talked about stuff like this a lot. And then shout out to my boy Lil Bill, who is an ordained minister, but like a radical, he doesn't like calling himself a leftist because a lot of that shit is cooked online. But like he's like a radical political dude like myself, but also like deeply religious himself, And so it shows you the possibilities. It's just unfortunately the Christianity that we tend to see is cooked, in my opinion.
What I did, and I agree completely that Christianity currently is, because I think a lot of people, when they think about Christianity, think about the people more than they think about the religion. The people stray people away. And personally, I used to be a youth pastor. I used to help out. I would help kids, and this was like after homelessness, and I was trying to help people. And I one day just decided I'm gonna watch every single Tyler Perry movie because I just wanted to see. I just wanted to watch them all. I felt like doing that, and
it sounds like that's actually a cool thing to have done. That would be an amazing. Oh, I actually envy that you had that. You had that. I had to watch them in real time.
Oh no,
and take them seriously at the time because none of us. It took like 5 Tyler Perry movies for everybody to look around like, "Hey, we gonna say something about this."
I watched like I thought it was at number 13 because he has over 60 movies. I was at number 13, and I'd taken off work. I worked at Chuck E. Cheese. I was the district manager. I just wanted to watch them all. And I was like, why is it always a light-skinned guy? I was just really confused at first, and then I realized that even to black people, the light-skin aesthetic is more appeasing. And why is that? And I looked at Tyler Perry, and I looked at his internalized homosexuality and internalized homophobia at the same time, how he plays Medea and still doesn't like gay people. It's weird. It's this weird disconnect. Like, you do drag, but still bash on the gay community, and you're reinforcing like this, oh, God's gonna do everything in the community, but not acknowledging that you make the darker skinned person evil always. Right. Thus reinforcing that this goes deeper.
Also, you're not doing much in the community.
Nothing. Doing nothing. Not Tyler Perry's doing nothing. I'm like, Tyler Perry, what have you actually done? Well, I've made Medea's Crazy Family Part 6. Good for you.
Tyler, I'm sure he has some. To be fair, I'm sure Tyler has some. What's the words? Nonprofits and shit that he runs and donates to. So to be fair, however, Tyler is the most powerful black man in the history of movies. I want you to think about that for a second. I try not to. I'm trying to save this because I don't know if you know the running meme is I'm gonna make a Tyler Perry video once I hit 1 million.
Yeah.
And I've been waiting to make it for a long time. I didn't know I was gonna get this big, and then I didn't think about the fact that I was in Atlanta and Tyler Perry's kind of a goon. Like, he got goons.
Oh.
So like I still have dreams of making it in Hollywood and writing and shit. So I didn't want to. I was like, let me give myself enough time to see if somebody will put me on before I make a Tyler Perry video, because otherwise I know people ain't gonna fuck with me.
No, people are deeply not gonna fuck with you because Tyler Perry's seen as like this even to my dad and my mom. My dad's like Barbadian. He's like St. Lucia Islands and things of that variety. And he's like, oh, I love Tyler Perry movies. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, they're so spiritual and they really connect to, and people I realized ever since I became like an analytical person and when I became to like learn things, nobody, and I mean no one, looks at things like I do. Like the way you look at things, the way I look at things is different than how the normal population doesn't see things like, oh, this could be bad. They think like, man, this Marvel movie is amazing. Like that's their thought process. This shit is amazing. Holy shit.
Attack on Titan. This is a cool story about a guy that just had a struggle.
It's like some people work with Eren. Like, man, Eren's a good guy. You know what? He said he's gonna take out all of his enemies, and what did he do? He took out all of his enemies. Then they
of the population.
and then Eren switched up on him, and they were just like, "No, Eren, I believed in you.
Do it.
I thought you were Malcolm X." Oh, no, and true to his faith, he was Malcolm X. Malcolm X had a switch up at the end.
If Malcolm X would have had a rumbling at a certain point in his life, he might have did that shit. That's true. But thankfully that shit isn't real. And at the time we critiqued Malcolm X as well. But yeah, Tyler Perry is the most powerful black man in the history of Hollywood. Tyler Perry could do almost anything he wants, and he what he wants to do is just make Tyler Perry movies. He don't want to hire no writers. He don't want to make a production company to distribute other black stories. He don't want to do nothing but make Tyler Perry movies, and he's a billionaire. And it's like it's really frustrating that it's like, because there's this myth. The myth of black excellence is what I tend to call it. Where it's like we have this idea that if there enough black people get rich, then that will help. They will come and help fix the rest of black issues. And historically, you look at that, and what you see is a bunch of black people get rich, and then they act like rich niggas.
Yeah, like
And
it's
it's like,
disgusting. Like I remember when everybody, and this got me hated by. This got me ostracized from the white community indefinitely, and it was so fun for me. I loved it so much because niggas were behind me because they listened to me. Niggas listen to me. White people just like the white people that I associated with. They just kind of like sparingly like, oh, he's a nigga speaking. The nigga,
I'm supposed to listen, but I'm not gonna.
yeah, they're just like, oh, it
Gotta
is.
check this off my list. Listen to minority voices.
Listen, he's the one black friend all the white people have. I'm not. But what kills me the most is that Jada Pinkett Smith, she was getting flamed, dragged online. I was like, why? What's going on? I didn't know what was happening because I knew about Jada Pinkett Smith. I knew what was going on. I had read Will Smith's like entire thing about how he was a narcissist, about how he wanted a big house and Jada Pinkett Smith didn't want a house, about how Jada Pinkett Smith didn't even want to get married, and I was confused why everybody did this 180 when
Jada said it.
Yeah, I was like, didn't Will Smith say he cheated with Margot Robbie? Didn't he say those exact words? And then everybody
I didn't know if he said that. I don't know if he said. Well, either way, I get the point.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to get into like
no specifics.
Semantics of it.
He was flirting with Margot Robbie, and then he was on the Red Table Talk, and she was like, when I had my situationship, my entanglement with August Alsina, he was like, we ain't gonna do that again, right? He was like, cause that hurt, and then she said, well, you've done worse, and then he said, yeah, I probably did, and that is so telling. I was like, is nobody gonna talk about this? Nobody watched the whole interview because that shit is insane.
I forgot about that part. Keeping it a buck.
He said I probably did worse, and she said I probably did worse, and then he said yeah. This thing is exact mannerisms. The look away in this. Those are the mannerisms of a narcissist that doesn't want to admit to it. He's just casually agreeing. I'm like, oh, I know this. I've seen this before. My brother does this. I know these actions. I got ostracized so deeply because I was explaining to my friends that I was like, we shouldn't hate Jada Pinkett Smith because we're tearing down black women. We tear down black women enough, it's going to become natural to our natural state of being. It's going to become regular in media. If we keep uplifting black men that are toxic and not calling them out.
Hold on one second. Let me call my wife.
You take your time, man. I'm here for you. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. Mm-hmm. Eating healthy. Yeah, we moving.
All right, we good.
All right. You all straight? You good?
Yeah. My wife's the anxious type, so if she's out and about, she likes to call and be like, "Hey, I'm here," and I'm like, "Okay."
I feel the same way. My wife, my wife is. If we're separate for a long extended period of time, we'll be like, "Lover, I miss you." I'm like, "Oh, I got you, baby. I'm sorry, I didn't touch your hand today. I'm sorry." I love people when people think the honeymoon phase ends. It never does. It truly never does.
If you're lucky, I know some people's honeymoon phase is offended, but I'm not gonna put that devil on you.
No, I think a main contributor, and what I realized, and this is the issue I'm seeing, and it's sad because I contribute to this so deeply. I love nigga culture too deeply to give it up. As
why should you?
It's
what? Hold on, wait. Because the way you use nigga is I wouldn't use it that way.
Yeah.
Just because the semantics of pro black sentiment. But I think what you're generally speaking, when you say nigga culture, you talking about that bullshit.
Yes.
So
yes, I am talking about the bullshit. Yeah. Not like black culture. No, I'm talking about niggas.
Not like cornbread and like cornrows.
Oh no, I'm talking about that too. That too.
Okay, so,
in combination. That to me.
You're also talking about like, baby mamas, toxic behavior.
Because if you think really deeply, and it hurts to say this, it really does. Niggas have made such a statement by being. They made the term baby mama, baby daddy. Fucking, if you hear the word food stamp, you intrinsically think, oh, niggas got that. Like, it's, and I hate that niggas are tied to it, but Jesus fucking Christ, if a white dude says, "Hey, you know somebody that can give me some cornrows?" 100% I do. What's up? I will make sure they overcharge the fuck out of you. 250 for some cornrows. What's up? It's
And they do that too. I know
100%.
they do that too. It's the semantics, and it's a struggle because like I used to be much more sensitive about it, about like what terms are we using to describe what behaviors. But then also what you realize is that it don't make a difference to white people.
No, it
Like, we
doesn't.
like me and you are both niggas to white people, and then like you and Barack Obama are still niggas. You know what I'm saying?
Is it because
Like,
the only difference,
so
the only small difference is that we're slightly well spoken.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah. Which and we get oh shit, we get like extra points but from white people within that regard. And so it's a dance that sometimes I do it, especially to not upset certain folks' sensibilities, and then I have to manage all these different personalities within my creator space, white personalities specifically. And then sometimes I don't care. And I'm like, y'all are stupid, and your opinion doesn't matter, and you hate me anyway. This is just a thing you're using at the moment to express that. So I don't need to really take this critique to heart.
It's really fun. It's super fun because it genuinely, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me what if a white person says they hate me, that's fine. Most of you, that's fine, whatever. But if a black person says they hate me, I kind of gotta fix it. Like, cause I'm like, okay, what part?
Why?
Of
What
me,
did I do? Where did I fuck up?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Is this misunderstanding or misstep?
Yeah, cause I did this I do this thing on my TikTok because I'm at 200,000 followers and I forget that I'm at that number now. I genuinely forget. That's a lot of people. I forget.
And it's so much more scrutiny of your behavior and what you say.
Yeah,
so much more.
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I had 300 people in my life just talking to me, right? And what I do is I argue the opposite. I don't give a fuck what you say to me. I don't care if I believe in it or not. Whatever you say, I will argue the opposite. Black dude came in here and he was arguing the idea of a man. And he said a man's supposed to be like he did all these stereotypical, horribly misogynistic takes. And I said, well, the idea of a man is shifting ever so presently in the common day and age. The idea of what masculinity is changing, and what you have intrinsically is a toxic masculinity. He said, you want your girl out there showing her body? I'm like, well, I said, if she's making mad money from idiots who spend thousands of dollars just to conversate with her when I get access to her body in physical contact, then by all means we're exploiting the system. And that's what more people should do. He said, you like exploiting the system? I said, baby, I'm black. All I know how to do is exploit the system. And he said, oh. And he could see the argument. And he said, now argue the opposite. And I did the opposite. I argued the opposite. He took my side and I took his. And he lost still. He still somehow lost when I gave him the talking points to win. It's insane. I do that all day. It's like 6 hours on my TikTok. I do that. It's so nuts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just do that all day. And people are like, what do you really believe? They're curious to figure out. They're trying to get beyond a parasocial relationship with me. And I say this all the time. The most my audience will do the best, even people that are going to watch this interview and watch this whole thing, the most you're going to get from me is I'm fun and I'm black. That's the most you will get from me. If you hear me get angry, then you know I'm serious. And you'll know when I'm angry because I'll stutter. I won't have this eloquent speech anymore. It'll be gone. I'll be devoid of all reason. I'm serious. That is when you know I'm serious. And nobody understands that. Nobody grasps that when I say that. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird disconnect.
The parasocial thing is interesting because we were talking, I guess this didn't make the initial, because you hadn't started recording, but you were talking about like getting recognized, becoming a local celebrity of sorts, and I'm kind of getting that same thing. And I'm an introvert. Like, I'm not fun. I am not fun at all. Like, and so like, and I've become more probably more secluded now because when I leave my house, I get recognized, and I still, I'm friendly. I know how to talk to people. And if you got good energy, I like good energy. But I also like not being bothered at all times. And so like, but when you make the thing that I'm like, that's really interesting to me and profound, and I realize it sneaks its way into a lot of my content, is like once you start making stuff, you become a you become your own, like your own creation. It's very depersonalizing. And so, like, I think I said in the video, there's like FD signifier, and then there's the real me. And now way more people know FD signifier than the real me. And they love that nigga. That nigga's amazing to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's so smart and wise and empathetic and kind, and motherfuckers want to hug me. You know what I'm saying? And like, you know, and like that's a real part of me. That's a real manifestation of how I see the world and engage the world and want to present to the world. But also, I don't want people to talk to me. And I also don't want people to like invest in me, because that feels like a lot of pressure and responsibility. And people stop seeing you as an individual with like an actual capacity for feelings and emotions and like functioning like human needs. And they only see you for the artwork that you've been attached to. And so when you tell me like people are trying to like, what do you really believe? They are really invested, because what you really believe could make or break their like week.
It's
like if you say something really fucked up and get canceled, it's gonna ruin somebody's whole day.
no,
You know what I'm saying?
it's so disgustingly demonstrably goofy to have that, because my TikTok is me telling stories from my life. That's it. That's all it. There's no editing. There's no crazy fancy. It's just stories from my life. That's all it is. And people love them because they think my life's crazy. This is an average Detroit nigga's life, though. Like if if an average Detroit nigga were to make another TikTok, they'd be like, "Oh, this is just like Saros." Yeah, because I'm just an average Detroit dude. What kills me the most, what actually messes me up, is somebody will have this idea of what they think I am, right? This big personal idea, and they'll message me. The person who messaged me their issues, and I'll literally respond, "I genuinely do not care." And, like I responded that so many times. They'll send me like 3 paragraphs, like, "Hey man, you know, I'm going through a horrible struggle. Your story really related to me and resonated to me." I'm like, "Oh, thank you for messaging me. Thank you for saying my story resonated to me." But the rest of the fluff, I don't care. I can't come to care about this because I have my own life to take care of first.
Yeah.
And then they'll say, "Wow, you're really fucked up." And I said, I never said I was a good person. I never said I was a bad person. I am just kind. I'm not good, I'm kind. There's a big difference between the two things, man. Big, that's all I am. And people don't understand that ever. I'm like, I'm not good. No person's good.
I think I don't know if it's human nature or just American media culture. We've been groomed to see this as evidence of a person's quality, internal, like humane quality. You know what I'm saying? If you could get this, then you must be good. There must be something good about you. It's one of the reasons why people want to get this. Because if I can get this, if I can get platform, if I can get clout, then that means I'm worthy and I deserve to be seen and I'll be happy, etc. And like, you know, like a nigga just like the Hamilton video. You talked about the Hamilton video before we got started.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say something really stupid about it.
What they say?
They were like, "Oh God, I don't want to get into it because I don't want to hurt feelings." But I heard some people say some dumb things about it, and I had been telling myself I was going to make videos forever because I love video essays, and it was COVID, so like I had nothing else to do, and so I was like, I'm gonna make a Hamilton video. And then like I really like doing this. I'm gonna just keep making videos. And I'm thinking like maybe one day this will be enough for a date night a month.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then my first check was almost $20,000.
Yeah, that
after one video. That video went viral. I had never made any money. I had made a couple of cents. I had got monetized like a month before the Bo Burnham video came out. My first check was 34 cents or some shit like that. And then like going into the Bo Burnham video, I had made like $500 because I had another video that kind of went viral. I'm like, okay, cool. And then the Bo Burnham video comes out, and now I'm a thought leader. And I was like, yo, what the fuck happened? What the fuck?
No,
people are reaching out to me. People are telling me I hope to like, and don't get me wrong, like I think much like you, the idea that I'm providing value to people and making their days better and making them feel better, I completely value that. And that makes me very happy because I was a teacher. I was working in social work. Of course I care, right? Like I was giving niggas my Xbox games so they wouldn't rob people, right? Like I'm about that life. I'm a save the world type of nigga. However, that was less of a higher profile. You know, if I gave a kid an extra quiz so he could pass my class and graduate, that really felt good, but nobody else had to know about that. That was just between me and that kid. Whereas now, if I make a video and it touches someone's life, they're gonna leave a comment. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so that becomes its own weird mechanism of a daily stressor that I hold. Like it's first world problems. I don't know how much I know TikTok.
Oh,
I don't know how much TikTok.
No, I can tell you right now, it's great. Like literally,
okay.
First check I got was 5,000, and I was like, "Holy shit, what the fuck?" I was like, "This is crazy." Next check I got was 7,000, and I was like, "Well," and I had no editing, just 2-minute videos, just me in front of the camera, just goofing it. And I was like, "Damn." Next check I got 6,000, and I was like, "As long as I just keep telling stories, I'm fine." Stories. I didn't realize I was gonna get so much, and I had quit my job at Amazon. And when I quit my job, that's when I was like, I'm really in the thick of it now. I gotta start actively putting effort into these things. Then I put effort into it, and when I put effort into it, I got more money. And my effort directly correlated to my money, and I was so happy because this was effortless for me.
That doesn't happen in most.
No. Every job I've ever had, with more effort I put, that means that I get more responsibility with the same pay. I was like, well.
It's done putting in effort.
I really am. It messes me up so much because if people heard my true idealistic beliefs, they would hear an African nigga speaking. Because I was born in Egypt, man. I was born in Egypt. And a lot of like what I learned there doesn't leave me. It's like the core root of my foundationalism. Because somebody was like, so how many genders do you think there are? Like one of the LGBTQ. I was like, well, I'll give you 4. And they said, why 4? I was like, boy, girl, both, none. That makes the most sense to me. And they said, well, that just makes sense to me. And they were just like, well, what about people's specific identities? And I was like, I think you're talking about sexualities, which can be infinite. Like, you can be attracted to sapiosexual, you can have those all day. I can't comment on that because I'm just a nigga. Anyways, but in terms of like gender, like
they want you to affirm the way they see things because
I'm not going to be your echo chamber. I'm not going to be
not even echo chamber. You're their megaphone.
Oh God, that's worse.
You're their amplifier. Yeah, it is worse actually. I'll take an echo chamber. I don't fuck with I fucks with y'all. Y'all, me and y'all, we cool. We just gonna chill and go through the world together. I don't have an issue with echo chambers. I'm 41 years old. I'm done everything. If I don't want to talk to none of y'all motherfuckers no more because y'all say shit to get on my nerves. Like at 27, I get it. Don't be in the echo chamber at 27. I'm 41. I don't want to hear shit some of y'all got to say. I've already heard it before.
It's disgusting because I feel like, because I'll speak to other people my age, like even 30-year-olds, 35-year-olds would reach out to me for advice. A 50-year-old man reached out for advice from me. I'm 27. And then I got to remember, I was married to a 90-year-old woman. I've lived in Amish country. I've been to Japan, China, Europe, Russia. I've been to Iceland. I haven't been to Greenland yet. I've been to Australia. I've been to Austria. I've been in the Easter Islands. I've seen people be horribly xenophobic. I've seen the best of America and the worst. And when I say this, I mean this from my bottom of my heart. Sadly, there is no better place to live than America. And I say that sadly. That is so sad to say.
That's probably true.
Because I've been to Canada. They fucking suck. I live right next to Canada. I can see Canada from my window. It's right there. I can look at it. It fucking sucks. I've been there. Horribly xenophobic in Japan. They call me Chris Rock the entire time. They petted my hair. They fucking. I was like, this fucking sucks. This fucking sucks, dude. What the fuck is this? It's America. While it has racism and it's very internalized and it's very systematic, the racism here is as if it's baby racism compared to Russia. Because Russia has racism. That shit sucks.
Russia got like our 1960s racism.
Yeah, it got interracial marriage.
It's literally still in the books. Yeah, that's wild. And it's also like, I know, like from my work, like when you've had to be unhoused, when you've had when you've had childhood trauma, right? Not to get too deep into your particular experiences, but like I know from my work you've had to actually age. That tends to age a child. I'll never forget, man. I'll never fucking forget. Not long before I left my last uh, population facing job. Population facing meaning that like my last real job before YouTube, I was doing research. I was no longer interacting with the youth and the people that actually had the challenges. I was trying to inform the rules. I remember I wrote a report to the governor that he didn't read for a fucking year about healthcare. That's why I was like, this shit is some bullshit. That's why don't shit work anyway. But like, so before then, though, I was doing social work, and I'll never forget, I had two brothers. One brother was 12, and he was a relatively normal, badass 12-year-old. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, hey, stop doing that shit. That worked well enough. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We had to do other work, obviously, but like, stop doing that shit made sense to him as a 12-year-old who had issues. His little brother was 7. That nigga talked to me like Scarface. And I'll never forget. I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about it. Oh my God. Because, and I had never, like, I had read about it. I knew that was a thing. When that little boy said, I was like, hey, stop doing that. He's like, what you gonna do? You can't put me in jail. I'm 7.
Real nigga shit. That's the rest. Real nigga shit. That's crazy.
Like, what you gonna put me on probation? What that mean to me? I'm 7. You got any resources? Y'all gonna put me? I'm not going to therapy. Like it was a whole ass grown man conversation I had with this 7-year-old. Like, and he beat me because I was off my guard because I didn't realize I was talking to a real nigga like that. And it was like
really recognize real is crazy,
right? You know, so when you say, like, you talk about the wisdom that you have that throws people off, you know, that makes sense to me because when you've had to interact with the world, like people struggle with, for lack of a way of putting it, deviancy, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Social deviancy. You talking about niggas. Y'all stealing copper out the buildings. Like, how could they do that? Why don't they just
get a job?
Culture, hip hop, culture. Get a job. And it's like, yo, these folks, the system hasn't served these people since they were kids. Why do you think they're going to invest in it now? Because you said so. You ain't doing shit. So
it's what kills me the most is I'll never forget this 11-year-old kid. We love this kid. We call him Lil Bop. Lil Bop was the greatest 11-year-old ever because we gave him like we gave him like weed, we gave him like ecstasy, and he would just have a backpack and he'll walk up past the cops and he'd be like, "What's up, cop?" Dap him up, chill out with him, and he just have crazy drugs on him. He dropped the backpack off, and we get the money. He put the money in the backpack. We go back, and then Lil Bop would come back. He'd be like, "We cool, we chilling, we got the money." He was our greatest carrier ever. He was amazing, right? One day he got into this argument with this white dude, 27-year-old white dude, old dude. He was like, he was like 12 years old. He's like, "You're just a fucking little kid." He was like, "See, that's the issue with you right here, right? You don't understand what white privilege mean." He was like, "What does white privilege mean?" White privilege doesn't mean the absence of obstacles. It's the abundance of opportunity. That's the difference. You see, and I was like, damn, that is the great. This 12-year-old motherfucking said that is talk to these niggas.
I'm stealing that. That's gonna be in I'm doing a white people video now.
I was like,
"Are you?" That shit down real quick. Shout out to Lil Bop.
Lil Bop said that shit. I was like, that is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's the best explanation of white privilege I've heard in forever.
I was like, he said, "What?" Lil Bop said this to me. I was like, "Oh my God." He said this to the white dude. He was like, "Oh my God." The white dude was like, "Oh." He was like, exactly. and he looked him dead in the eye and said, "I'm not gonna complain that I gotta work harder. I work twice as hard for half as much. That means I'm 4 times better than you, because I'm still gonna get the same amount as you. Think about that." And he walked away. I was like, "Get this nigga an Emmy." Holy. I was like, damn.
Oh shit, hold on. I'm fucking up my camera trying to type.
You good. You good.
The opportunity.
Oh my God.
Or half. No, twice the.
It's like white privilege is not the absence of obstacles. It's the abundance of opportunities. That shit was that'll never leave me. That shit will never leave me. That was hard.
It's hard as fuck. Yeah, out the mouths of babes, man. Out the mouths of babes. And now I can't find. Okay, there we go. Yeah, yo, I got to run in a little bit. Was there anything specific that you wanted to get out of me before I left?
Well, I guess this would be the final talking point I'd like to get out of you. In you being married to a black woman, you having this black on black relationship, and you talked about it before, but what do you think is the most important thing for black people going forward to not be viewed as just a caricature of a person more than the actual being? Because right now black people are viewed as caricatures of hip-hop, caricatures of basketball, and caricatures of just a stereotype. What do you think that black people as a collective have to do in order to break down this caricature viewpoint of ourselves?
We ain't got to do shit. Ain't shit you can do about it. The key is to stop caring. Stop trying to prove your humanity to these white folks, because the nature of how race works is not logical. If you prove your humanity, if Seros proves his humanity as a black person, then he becomes one human black person, and the rest of us are still niggas. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if that does something for you, then please by all means do it. And I'm not judging people for doing it. I'm just saying stop stressing yourself out about that shit. I have people. So I have 3.5 degrees. I should have 4, but I started getting YouTube checks, and I was like, I'm not finishing this PhD. I have 3.5 degrees. I have never been arrested. I have all the features of an acceptable Negro except for the hair, right? And when I make videos, people try to call me dumb because I say especially instead of especially, or I say ax instead of ask. You know what I'm saying? And it's like
I say similar instead of similar.
Right. It's like you motherfuckers couldn't. I couldn't. If I wrote a paper for you for your school, they would know you cheated. You know what I'm saying? Like you motherfuckers couldn't survive. You all couldn't measure up to me intellectually on your best day. Shut the fuck. Don't shut the fuck up. Like, share, and subscribe. Because every time you make one of those comments, it helps me get paid. So like, I am not worried about the reality. So if you do want to do some reading, something. So I got right here. This is Wretched of the Earth by Frantz Fanon. It's in terms of like colonialism and blackness. He's really great. He has something called White Skin Black Mask, which I think actually you might want to start with, because that's more. This is like it's anti-colonial stuff that I was like, why did I reread this? Fuck. But Black Skin White Mask is more like philosophical around race explicitly. And there's this concept called Afro-pessimism, which I've been getting into, which is basically kind of like recognizing that, like, critical race theory and like intersectional feminist theory and all these other things that we've made up in schools to explain the issues of black people, they're all cool and all, and they do useful stuff. But like, I think we need to just understand something. As long as you're black in a white world, you are not human, and nothing you can do can change that. Once you change that, you become just a specific black entity happens to be able to perform humanness in a context. Versus, Fanon actually puts it well. He's like, because Fanon was a psychologist, a doctor. He was some type of exceptional Negro, right? And so like if he proved himself, which he had to over and over again, which we have to do, he stopped. It wasn't an accolade for the whole black, you're a credit to your people. That shit don't exist. You can't be a credit to your people. Once you become good, you become an exception from your people. And so we need to be organizing and trying to, improve our lot as a collective. We need to be investing in our health, investing in our children, addressing our internal conflicts around gender and anti-blackness, etc. But at the bottom of the list is proving to white people that we're good, because some of them will see it because they figured it out. They read some books, and even them, they'll have to be constantly engaging and disengaging. If you spend too much time doing that, I think you're going to be wasting a lot of your energy. You could be doing something else.
You remind me so deeply. My twin brother, he said this to me, and it resonates to me as the entire statement. He said, "Remember, Saros, I don't care what the fuck you do. Look at me in my eyes when I say this to you. I'm a nigga first, and everything else second." And I'm like, okay, my bad. I'm sorry. It's so beautiful. I appreciate that. And with that, we are done with this.